Welcome to the preview segment here on the AFC East Roundtable, brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook.
We're really excited. The Glenn segment first or after the previews?
After
the previews, we're doing the Glenn segment.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, folks, I'll tell you what, this AFC East team, or this AFC East division, rather, certainly has a slate of some games going into it. But I do want to start off, of course, with our good friends, the New York Jets. And these damn Jets, man. Let me tell you something about these Jets. They are set to play the Minnesota Vikings in London. And not only are the Minnesota Vikings 4-0 in general, they are undefeated in London. Sam Darnold is red hot. And Kevin O'Connell, which, by the way, has been shocking because I saw some image of, like, front runners for Coach of the Year, and he was, like, 8th. I was like, give me a break. Wow. Are you telling me that man's not a unanimous number 1 right now through 4 weeks out of the season? But the Jets obviously want to bounce back after a heartbreaking loss. Richie, thoughts? A very early game, and I'll tell you what, I'm so excited that I get to watch it before mine at 1 p.m., which is going to be good because that's either going to elevate my anxiety or make me feel a little bit better walking into Houston at 12. Vikings, Jets, what do you got, Richie? Go ahead.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a tough game. Absolutely tough game. I can't lie to you guys. I'm definitely concerned. Aaron Rodgers is a little banged up. He came out of that game against the Broncos with a knee ailment. Now, the only reason why I bring that up is because what made Aaron Rodgers special against that Patriots game was we saw a different version of Aaron moving around, mobile. Like, are we going to see that version of him with a swollen knee? We shall see. Listen, man, this has to be one of those games where the Jets have to come together and look at adversity straight in the face and be able to come together, because I'm hopeful that game against the Broncos was an outlier from this perspective, because everyone's talking about the cadence issue and, the coaching staff not holding this team accountable and the penalties. But the one thing I will say is I don't want people to pretend that false start issue was an issue all season. We had 1 false start in 3 weeks. And then we had 5 false starts in 1 game. I'm hopeful that is not going to be an issue, because the Jets have to make sure that they cannot get false start penalties. They killed themselves in that game. And this is something that Jets fans have unfortunately grown to be accustomed to with Robert Saleh. Since Robert Saleh came to the Jets, we've been leading the league in penalties. So the Jets got to be able to not beat themselves, because that has been a big, big issue, man. Penalties. Please, please, please do not hurt yourselves with those undisciplined nonsense penalties. That's number 1. Number 2, these Minnesota Vikings, they're legit. Sam Darnold's playing like MVP. It's crazy stuff here. Now, the Vikings defense, they give up the most passing yards in the entire NFL. But they have an elite defense. They're opportunistic. They send exotic blitzes. They check into a blitz. They check out of a blitz. They'll disguise. Brian Flores is a mastermind. They're going to send 0 pressures. But if there's anybody in the league that can handle the blitz, it's Aaron Rodgers. Not because he's mobile, not because he can escape the pressure, but his mind is a weapon, all right? And he can absolutely pick apart a defense like that if the players around him picks up on the hand signals. Why do you think Aaron Rodgers and the Packers ended off their time together not on the same page in 2022? It's because that was the first year Rodgers did not have Devontae Adams, and they had all these new young receivers, and those young receivers were just not on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers demands greatness. He holds himself to a standard. He holds his teammates to a standard. And if you don't abide to what Aaron Rodgers says, we're not going to achieve new heights of greatness. And right now, this team is not right now on the same page. Now, we saw a glimpse of it against the Patriots, so there is some signs. Okay, we've seen flashes of really good offensive play with Rodgers. Now we've seen flashes of incompetence. We got to find that consistency here. So I think this is a tough game, and I think that from a defensive standpoint, I'm really excited to see, because, by the way, the New York Jets are a top 3 defense in the NFL right now, according to DVOA. We are 20th against the run, number 3 against the pass, and then overall, we're top 3. So I think the Jets have a big test against a scorching hot Sam Darnold and the best wide receiver in football. I'm excited for this game. I really, really am. The Jets are the underdog, and they got to play pissed off. They got to play like they got something to prove. Because let's be honest, man. You look at that Jets-Broncos game. We completely just lost that game because of just weird stuff. I mean, it was a weird game. I was there. The weather impacted it. I'm not making excuses, but we easily should have won that game if we just punched it in at the goal line, if they didn't have those idiotic penalties. And at the end of the day, the Jets should have won that game, but they didn't. All right. It's a week-by-week league. Leave that game behind. Let's go into London and let's get the dub. All right. I got confidence that this team can handle adversity, and I have confidence that they can pull off the upset, and I'm going to predict that they do. All right, I'm going to predict that they do because I believe in this football team. I could be wrong. The Vikings are undefeated, but the one thing I did learn about this football team, the NFL this season, is that any team can be beat. All right, any team can be beat. The Buffalo Bills are 3-0, riding high. Oh, we're going to, they get their teeth kicked in. All right, like there's so many examples around this NFL season that just because you're the best team does not mean you're going to win the football game. So maybe the Jets can go out there and catch the Vikings sleeping. Not going to be easy. A lot's going to have to go our way. I'm not that optimistic predicting my Jets. I'll be honest with you guys. But I'm going to pick him to win because I'm going to try to speak it into existence, and hopefully Sam Darnold can become the New York Jets quarterback that we knew him to be.
All right.
Come on, Sam. I hate rooting against you.
So as far as this game for me, man, I think the Vikings are going to win, but I think it is going to be pretty close. I'm looking at the Jets like on the defensive side of the football, and I could see Aaron Jones potentially like doing, I'd say, relatively well, especially against this Jets rushing defense. Right now, it looks like they're allowing about 4.6 yards per carry. So I could see that being a huge part of the game plan. I don't really see Sam Darnold stretching the field too much as far as with so the Jay Jettas and everything in company. But I do see like a massive short passing game, and then maybe they do end up gaining a bit like yards after the catch and just like that dink and dunk sort of offense. My biggest concern right now, particularly for the Jets, is their offensive line versus this Brian Flores pass rush and his blitz packages. I have a feeling that Aaron Rodgers, while he's even banged up from last week, is going to be on his ass quite a bit. I think it's just going to be too much. Give me the Minnesota Vikings 24 and the New York Jets 20.
I will say this as well, bold prediction. This is the Garrett Wilson breakout game. His first game of the year is not going up against a number one elite corner. The Vikings give up the most passing yards in the NFL up until this point. We need to see you unlock yourself, Garrett Wilson. This is the game.
Damn. What you got, Cole?
All right, listen. Oh, go ahead.
TD, you want to go first?
Yeah, listen.
I got you, bro.
Real talk, there's only one way the Jets win this game, and it's Aaron Rodgers. Flores' defense is spectacular, and they understand what he's trying to run, and they're running it almost to perfection. You have to be elite post-snap reading the football, reading the field. And Aaron Rodgers is one of the last quarterbacks who can do that real time. So, but will his weapons show up with him, or will they act like they did last week? That's what it's going to come down to. The Jets could actually beat Minnesota. They're out of their element. There's travel, all of those things combined. The Jets could beat Minnesota, but will the supporting cast match Aaron Rodgers' abilities in this game? That's where I think you got a problem, Richie, and that's what's going to signal y'all to go get Devontae Adams, no questions asked, because y'all are going to come up short in this game. The Minnesota Vikings are going to beat y'all this week. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers, I'm telling you, he's going to know what to do, but will your offense be able to read it the way he's reading it? And I don't think so. He needs a familiar guy. Look for Lazard to make some plays. You know, the guys he's familiar with. But it's not going to be enough. Sam Darnold goes off, and Justin Jefferson just absolutely obliterates Sauce Gardner. And if he wants to run away from Justin Jefferson, then Addison is going to destroy Sauce Gardner. DJ Reed, it don't matter. Addison and Justin Jefferson about to cook. And Sam Darnold.
The Jets have been very good against the pass this year, TD. You're making it seem like we suck against the pass.
Yeah, not against the Vikings. Not against the Vikings.
Hey, I mean,
yeah.
Sam Darnold. Now, this is what I hate about you. You just roast Sammy D, and now you're hopping on the bandwagon, man.
Hey, man, that's another thing. You say this is what you don't like about me, but you don't respect the fact that when I get new information, I can at least be honest and change? Sam
Yeah,
Darnold.
but like that one's personal for me, man.
Yeah,
everyone else, you're allowed to put Sam a little personal for me, man.
I'm glad Sam didn't do this for y'all. I know that much.
Oh no, that's the script. You guys didn't hear the script? Jets signed Sam Darnold to replace Aaron Rodgers because the Vikings got JJ McCarthy still, and Sam's still going to be our franchise guy.
It's better than the dude in my comment section who said Jordan Travis was going to be a franchise quarterback because he's learning behind Aaron Rodgers. That's more realistic.
That would be nice, but I definitely cannot say that's something
Respect.
I would love that to happen. I wanted Jordan Travis in that draft. That was the one quarterback I wanted the Jets draft. But, I have no idea if he's going to be NFL caliber yet.
TD, what was your score prediction?
Ooh, let me see. Sam Darnold gets 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 2 field goals, 41 for the Vikings. And I'm going to go.
Defense is that bad in your
highest they scored all season, by the way, if that happens.
I'm going 14 for the Jets.
Oh, you're thinking a massacre. You're not even.
Oh, they defense about to score, Richie. The defense is going to score 2 touchdowns. Vikings defense, 2 touchdowns.
How the defense? How? By who? Rodgers throwing a pick 6?
Oh yeah, it's going to be one of those Brees Hall. Oh, it wasn't Rodgers.
No. This is not Huntley to Tyreek Hill throwing backwards passes, but we're not the Dolphins.
Hey, you can throw shots all you want. Watch what happens.
Hey man, if we lose, I guarantee it's not that way. That's my only guarantee.
You about to learn today, Richie. You're gonna learn.
All right, look. Before I start, I don't want Jets fans turning this into you hate the Jets, you're a hater. I have nothing against the Jets team, just so that's clear. Nothing against Rodgers, nothing against the Jets organization. I just want to make that clear. But I want to look at what we've known about both of these teams so far heading into week 5. You look at the Jets, week 1, you get demolished by the only good team you've played so far this season with the 49ers, but they're also one of the best teams in the NFL. Week 2, you play a really close game against one of the bottom teams in the league in the Titans, but you're able to squeak out a win. Then you play against the New England Patriots, an in-division rival, which you absolutely wiped, and y'all started taking that as victories, and we're turning it around. Richie, earlier you talked about DVOA. I have some numbers for DVOA involving the Patriots. In 2023, they were 29th offensively, according to DVOA. Right now, they are the same offensively. They are 29th, according to DVOA. Defensively last year, they were 9th. Right now, they are 27th. I think that a lot of Jets fans, you are pumping up your chest about beating the Patriots, which rightfully so. Like they beat you for so long, like you dominated them. You should feel confident. But I said, I don't know if this is the turning point to say this is where our offense is officially coming alive. Our defense is coming alive because you're going up against offensively and defensively one of the worst teams in the league. Well, at least they've become one of the worst teams in the league over the last few weeks now. And that's the question. Did the Jets finally start to awake offensively and defensively, or did they just demolish a team that in both categories just hasn't been there and is really getting worse, especially because of injuries as each week goes on? And then you play against the Denver Broncos, who got their first win the week prior. They're not exactly a good team. They're not a hot team right now. And they end up beating you and squeaking out a win too. It's hard with the Jets because what exactly is that identity? And I think this is the week where we finally figure out what the identity for the Jets is. If they're able to beat the Vikings, then this is a team that can still make the postseason. This is a team that we still need to talk about. But if you get absolutely mollywalked here by the Minnesota Vikings, then it just shows that when you beat the Patriots, it wasn't that game to get you guys going. It's just you were able to beat down one of the worst teams in the National Football League. I look at the Vikings here. They're undefeated, and they're undefeated for a reason. Against the Giants week 1, 28-6. Week 2 against the 49ers, who again are a hot team, 23-17 against the Texans, 34-7 against the Packers, who are also a very good team. Jordan Love came back. It was 31-29. I think that this is going to be a really tough game for you guys to play. Last week, Brees Hall, he was averaging 0.4 yards. 0.4 yards per carry. And I think that's a big reason on why you lost. Your offense wasn't able to get going was because you didn't have a run game to complement your offense. Your offense became very one-dimensional. And we know that right now, Garrett Wilson, he's not a guy that you can force feed the ball. He hasn't been this target that I think Aaron Rodgers was expecting, and maybe he can get going. But right now, we know that he isn't the guy that Aaron Rodgers was ultimately expecting. And, the guy that Garrett Wilson was going to be able to take this big step forward. And the Minnesota Vikings defense, they are absolute dogs in terms of pass rush. They were able to get Jordan Love to throw 3 interceptions. They sacked him one time, but even Josh Jacobs, who's one of the hottest running backs in football, 9 carries, 51 total yards. So I think the Vikings in this game, they're going to dominate defensively. They're going to be able to make the Jets offense very one-dimensional. You're basically saying we're taking Garrett Wilson away. We're taking your run game away. And Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have to beat us by throwing to Mike Williams and Tyler Conklin the entire game. So ultimately, I do have the Vikings winning this game. They're one of the hardest opponents that the Jets are going to face all season long. I think we're going to find out the true identity of the Jets coming out of this game, but I have the Vikings staying undefeated, winning 27-13.
Shock the world. Let's go, baby. This is our time. They're picking against us, chat. This is how we want to be. I like being the underdog. I feel more comfortable.
Richie, by the way, I picked you last week, so it's not like I'm a hater.
No, you picking the Vikings is not being a hater at all. I'm just happy to be being counted out. I feel more comfortable like that. Respect. I'm not used to be called a favorite with my team. Hopefully we can be a favorite as the season goes on. That means we're good. But yeah, man, it's going to be a tough matchup. And the Aaron Rodgers versus Sam Darnold, part 2, by the way. Part 1, Sam Darnold versus Aaron Rodgers was an epic game. It was Sam's rookie season. Sam Darnold put up 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Aaron Rodgers came into MetLife and outdueled him like 380 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the Packers beat us. That was a classic game. That was probably one of Sam Darnold's best game as his entire Jet career. I miss you, Sam. Just know I never wanted the Jets to trade you. I never wanted the Jets to draft Zach Wilson. But then I had to convince myself, and then I obviously had to support Zach when we did it. So here we are. All right, let's move on.
And folks, all right, obviously we have to talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans game. And obviously, my swamp ass is heavy right now. But thank God, all right, I am wearing a pair of some nice Shinesty underwear as we speak. And let me tell you something about Shinesty, guys. If you hate swamp ass, if you hate underwear that rides up, it's uncomfortable when you're sleeping, perhaps, have no fear. I have found the underwear for you. And look at all of these damn designs that they release on a regular basis. Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you name it. Your girl is going to love them. I absolutely promise you that. And get this, 10% off, all right? If you simply use that link in our bio and type in code RTS10 for all of your underwear needs, you better go over to Shinesty. I guarantee you it is the best underwear your cheeks have ever felt.
Yeah, you kidding me? By the way, Dan, I mean, can we show real quick just the what is it, the Halloween ones with the little pumpkin on them? I really like those. Okay. I really like those. You know, go ahead and this season show your shoddy, your Halloweener. And you know what? With the Christmas season right around the bend, you're going to want to be able to pick up all them ho-ho-hos, showing off your Christmas jangles. You know what I'm saying? And Shinesty also has underwear that is glow in the dark. So if you're getting a little freaky at, and you know what I'm saying? It's 3 a.m, you know, you don't want to get up. You don't want to turn on the lights. All you got to do, shank down them pants, and you are lighting up the room. Start your night. Shinesty improving the underwear game the way that nobody else is.
Dude, let me tell you what, Colby, from now on, you are reading that ad read. From now on. From now on, man. I see you do it at all the other roundtables, and I sincerely really appreciate how you do it. You kill it each and every single time.
Gotcha, man.
All right. So the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans, man. Some of you might think like, oh my God, with Dan, he's picking the Bills to lose based off of last week. And it's not necessarily that, because as Colby did point out a bit earlier, we match up a bit better to the Houston Texans than we do with the Baltimore Ravens. Because even with TD said it like during the huddle earlier this week, and he says that this Buffalo Bills team was built to compete in the division and the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't do too well when it comes into very physical defenses, like hard hitting, what have you. This Houston Texans team, a couple of things that makes me confident, and make no mistake, I still see us losing a heartbreaker. But this is the most penalized team in all of the NFL. Right now, even with Laramie Tunsil, has like 12 penalties out on the left tackle. This offensive line has been an absolute liability when it comes into playing actual, like, responsible football. Like, they're shooting themselves in the foot left and right. And they're also not doing a good job at protecting CJ Stroud. He has like over like 30-something pressures. He's been sacked 12 times already, 7 of which with blitzes. A lot of those probably had to do with the Minnesota Vikings. But it sucks that Von Miller is out, because I wanted that matchup specifically. I think Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones will be able to break the bank And I'm crossing my fingers as of right now that Joe Mixon is not going to play. He was not playing today during practice. If they have Cam Akers out there, they are going to be a one-dimensional sort of team. I love Christian Benford right against Nico Collins. I love Rasul Douglas right against Tank Dell, who's coming off of an injury. He likely still won't be 100%. He's going to knock off some sort of rust. But the one matchup I hate, and this gives me a bad taste in my mouth, it's Stephon Diggs and Cam Lewis, because Taron Johnson right now, he is still in a red non-contact jersey. I've been seeing clips all day. That forearm is still bothering him. In my opinion, I genuinely believe that the Buffalo Bills are waiting to bring him back until that New York Jets game the following week. So that's going to be an absolute mismatch nightmare when it comes into it. Then with Khalil Shakir, he has an ankle injury, was wrapped up. He played the rest of the game, but he was not out on the field by itself. And as many of us know with Josh Allen, although, fun fact, he is undefeated in domes, by the way. He's undefeated in domes in the regular season, 7-0. And the only loss he's ever had in a dome was in Houston during that Deshaun Watson Houston Texans game. So he plays very dome typically, but I mean, honestly, like everyone in here sees it. He's playing scared. He's not playing Josh Allen ball because he has that left hand injury, which I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's broken. He's just been playing through it. I'm hoping that he'll be, fine after the Jets game and we can see like a full strength Josh, because we're going to need him to make threats with his legs. We're going to need him like hurdling over, DBs and linebackers for us later down in the season. It's nice that Bernard is going to be back. Maybe he'll provide some sort of insurance policy when it comes into pass coverage. I just see this being a very annoying game. I think if the Buffalo Bills can run the ball effectively, because this Houston Texans team struggles a lot in stopping it, like say that this is a massive James Cook game, and then we can go on ahead and like pick on their slot corners specifically, and then also their safeties, who are definitely a weakness. I think we're going to keep it close. I want the Buffalo Bills to win, and I will continue to say that if I am wrong, oh my God, you are going to see the sunglasses back on my face next Wednesday and on Monday. And I'm going to be screaming that we are on the way to the damn Super Bowl. But I just don't like this matchup, especially with all the injuries that this Buffalo Bills team has right now. Lost our best defensive player in Taron Johnson is not going to be out there against their wide receiver core. And then, of course, with Josh Allen being out and, of course, with Von Miller being out, I don't know. I see Buffalo losing this game. I'd say a close one. I'd say like 28. I say 28-27. That's me. What do you got, Colby?
I think we're going to figure out exactly who the Bills are after this game, right? Because I talked about this narrative a little bit before. Y'all have been playing really good football, the hottest football I've seen the Bills play in a minute. Josh Allen playing really good football, but you haven't necessarily played that top echelon teams you're going to have to face when you get into the postseason. And I know the Ravens, they're not, exactly there even headed into that game last week, but they're still a good team. They're still a team that we all project to go to the postseason. Y'all, of course, end up falling short. But I said, look, I think this is what the Bills need. They're playing hot football. Maybe they got a little bit cocky. They got certain parts of their offense and their defense exposed. The question is going to be, do they use that game last week to bring them back down to earth and then just stop showing up? Kind of like the Saints. Saints showed up the first 2 weeks, looked like a hot team, probably the hottest team in football, and then they fall off after they got brought back down to earth. Or are the Bills going to use this game, realize their deficiencies, and come back even stronger? I love the Texans, honestly. Like from an outside standpoint, huge fan of CJ Stroud, huge fan of what the Texans are doing offensively and defensively, huge fan of D'Amico Ryans, but they're also not playing necessarily the best football. They're not playing as good of football as I think we expected. And Dan, I alluded to this a little bit earlier. I'm going to restate this. Week 1, they played the Colts, who aren't a very good team, and they won 29-27. Week 2, they play the Bears. They beat the Bears. Also, not a very good team at all. They win another close one, 19-13. The only good team they've played so far is the Vikings, and they got absolutely owned 34-7. Then they play the undefeated, or not the undefeated, but the winless Jags rather last week, and they almost lose that game too, 24-20. So this is the second hardest opponent that the Texans have played all season. I think we're also going to learn a lot about the Texans and can they play good against good opponents? If they make the postseason, are they going to be able to make a run, or are they going to get owned if they make the postseason? I think that's going to be the big questions here. Is Joe Mixon playing, or is Joe Mixon not playing? I think that that's also going to have a big impact on this game, because if not, I do think that the Texans, they're going to want to pass the ball a lot. And obviously the Bills, they have a good secondary, even without Poyer, without Hyde. They've had a very good secondary, especially from those cornerbacks. And as long as you guys can stay healthy there, I like how you match up. Even last week against the Jags, you had CJ Stroud throwing for 345 yards. He was 27 for 40, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and sacked 2 times. Really didn't do too much in the running game. Their lead back here was Cam Akers, 13 attempts, 53 total yards, 4.1 yards on average. I think if they don't have Joe Mixon, they become a little bit more of a one-dimensional offense. You know how they're going to want to beat you. They're going to try to beat you through the air. And I like that matchup for the Bills a lot more than I liked that matchup last week when they had to go against the Ravens and go up against an offense that was strictly trying to run the ball. So I actually think the Bills are going to win this game. I'm a big fan of the Texans. I like what they're doing. I like what they're building. But so far, they haven't showed me anything yet to where they can absolutely own or beat a good team in football. And I do still think, despite the loss last week, that the Bills are a good football team. So I think the Bills are going to win this game. I think it will be close, but I do have them winning 24-17.
Nice. Yes. I love to see it.
Kobe, you crazy.
All right, CD, what do you got?
All right, listen, the Houston Texans, I'm going to be honest with you. This game actually was hard for me to pick. Okay. This is in Houston on the road. The Houston Texans have had a lot of penalties. The Buffalo Bills, I feel like, are going to be outmatched in this game. I've come to the conclusion that Houston is supposed to win this game just overall, with y'all being beat up and banged up. But I got to be honest, there's something in the back of like this gut feeling that tells me that the Bills are going to pull it out, and I don't even know how. I can't come up with how, but I just feel like for some reason they're going to pull it off. And I'm supposed to take the Texans in this game because they are the better matchup in this one, particularly with the Bills injury report. But there's something about it that's bothering me big time that says the Bills going to pull it out, but I'm going to go with the Texans. I'm going to go with the Texans in this one.
What you got, Richie?
Yeah, I think this game is going to be a great one. This game's at 1, Dan?
It's at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I think the Texans being at home, they almost lost to the Jaguars, but they didn't. The injury report for the Bills is not looking good. They're coming off a bad loss. We're going to get a good idea who these Buffalo Bills are. We're also going to get a good idea who the Texans are, because I'm not convinced about them yet. I haven't really seen anything from them. The one loss that they had was against a really good team in the Vikings. So I don't really know where to go with this. I don't know who to take. Like, I'm just going to cop out and take the home team, man. Because I think this is an even matchup. I think that the matchup is in the Texans' favor. And I think that if the Bills go out there and Josh Allen plays like an MVP, that's really going to elevate them as serious contenders. I mean, they're considered contenders right now. Let's be honest with ourselves. And I think the Bills have every reason to believe they should win this football game. They got to get everybody around Josh Allen in rhythm early. They got to go back to the ground game with James Cook, in my opinion. Rely on Kincaid down the middle of the seam. Get your receivers involved. Spread the ball around. Go empty. Utilize James Cook as a pass catcher as well as a runner. And then the defense, man, that's going to be a tough matchup going up against CJ Stroud. I'm just excited to see at the end of this game which quarterback played better. The Houston Texans have a really good defense. The Buffalo Bills defense just got murdered last week against a team that just runs the football better than anybody else. Also against a team that had offensive line issues, but their offensive line looked like the best in the league against the Bills. So very fun matchup. I'm going to take the Houston Texans in this game, though.
Well, folks, we have 3-1, and then I'll tell you what, Colby, I am really hoping that you turn out to be the victor in this prediction. I really, really do, man. Let's Let's make this happen. All right, now the game of the week, because we have the divisional rivals going up against each other, and that just so happens.
Battle of the basement.
It's the New England
Battle of the
Patriots.
basement.
It's the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. We'll start off with Colby on this one.
Yeah.
Give me your preview and prediction. Talk to me.
Dude, this game's really, for me, going to come down to who in the heck plays. Y'all lose Jordan Phillips. We're banged up. Kyle Duggar, supposedly not out for the season, but he's going to miss some time. How much time, we don't know. Their center, David Andrews, like I said, he's out for the season, and that's a major loss for New England. They lost their captain with Juwan Bentley. That is 3 captains, offensively and defensively, that are currently out for the Patriots. I'm looking at this injury report that came out today for these teams. One of the Patriots starting receivers, KJ Osborne, didn't practice today. The depth at tackle for the Patriots with offensive tackle Caden Wallace, he also didn't practice. But who could they potentially be getting back? They might be getting back their starting left tackle in Vidarian Lowe. I think that helps them. They might be getting back their best offensive lineman in guard Michael Jordan. If they can get him back, that also helps the Patriots significantly. Not to mention, now that we're heading into week 5, there's a lot of players between the PUP list and guys that were placed on IR that are officially able to return this week. Could Cole Strange come back? Marte Mapu, Sione Takitaki, Kendrick Bourne. From what we saw, Kendrick Bourne, Sione Takitaki, and Marte Mapu all returned to practice today, and that opens up their 21-day window. Are they activated yet? No. Is it guaranteed they're going to play? No. If the Patriots get reinforcements, then I'm very confident in their ability to come out with this win, which is a wild thing to say about the Patriots in any game this season. But if they don't get these reinforcements, if Vidarian Lowe, Michael Jordan, they're starting pieces on the O-line, they can't come back, and we see these backup pieces not being activated yet, then there's no reason that the Patriots should win this game. The Miami Dolphins should end up winning this game. But here's the thing. The narrative is that the Patriots cannot beat the Dolphins, right? The narrative is actually the Patriots can't beat Tua. That's the fact. When Tua hasn't played, the Patriots have always been victorious. I'm not a big fan of Huntley. Obviously, y'all went up against the Titans, who I'm personally not that big on. They do have a really good defense, though. But the last 2 weeks since you've lost Tua, you've put up very minimal points. You haven't looked like the same team. You lose your best pass rusher. The Patriots are playing at home, and they've been a better team when they do play at home. And you're hoping that this is a game New England can get back on track for, because there's not a lot of games. There's not a lot of games, especially with these injuries, that I can say the Patriots are actually going to win. If you can't beat Snoop Huntley and this banged up Miami Dolphins team with terrible play calling from Mike McDaniels, then I don't know which matchups you're going to win. If this game was in Miami, even with Snoop Huntley at quarterback, I would have given it to the Miami Dolphins. But because it is at Gillette Stadium, I am still going to take the New England Patriots. I think there is a lot of controversy, a lot of toxicity kind of going around Miami, a lot of question marks and injuries, and I don't think that's going to help them. So in that case, I am going to take the home team here with the New England Patriots. I think it's going to be a close one, but I am going to take the Patriots at 17 and the Miami Dolphins 14.
Look at that. 17-14 bloodbath. What do you got, TD? Talk to us.
It's not going to be fun.
I'm wondering if OBJ is going to play. It was his first day back on the field practicing. That's one element to consider. But listen, this team will get it together this week. The Miami Dolphins are going to beat the Patriots probably 30 to about, maybe I'll give it 17. People are going to be like, man, good job, Dolphins. Where did that come from? It's just a matter of Huntley getting more comfortable. See, what a lot of people don't want to talk about in that Tennessee game is that McDaniel kept trying to throw the ball outside in the flat all game. Then all of a sudden, at the very end of the game, he finally started trying to push the ball forward, and Huntley was making some plays. Another thing Huntley did in that game was, when it mattered most on third down and long, he took off with his legs. I mean, Huntley in that one game had more rushing yards than Tua's career high in rushing. And he's going to get more and more comfortable. I think that Huntley's going to produce a lot better. Still's not going to be great, but I think that he gets about 190 to 200 yards this game, finds Tyreek on a good one. And remember, there were a lot of shots that we took deep on Tennessee that we just didn't connect. Those guys don't have chemistry. The timing was off. It happens. I think that, this game, Dolphins will actually beat the Patriots by 3 scores. And I think somewhere like again, I'm going to give it, you know what? I'm going to change it. I'm going to go about, I'm going to go 31-17 Miami.
Nothing's out of the picture, TD. Nothing is out of the picture. That I can tell you. With us, anything can happen any given week.
Yeah, I just think we'll turn it up. We'll turn up this week. We'll have one of those surprise performances that nobody saw coming.
I'm trying to see if your injury report came out. So Jordan Phillips and Jordan Poyer were the only ones that didn't practice today, but you have a pretty
they're done. They're done. Poyer's hurt and Phillips is out for the season.
So do you think Poyer plays in this game or no? No? Okay, gotcha.
We'll see, but I don't think he will.
Gotcha. I mean, I think that this is a get-right game for the Patriots, too. In fact, let me get this back on the screen. So I think that this is also a get-right game in a lot of ways for the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson, I mean, the Patriots are going to want to run the ball down the throats of the Miami Dolphins, dominate time of possession, don't turn the ball over. But let me tell you, dude, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson has fumbled in 4 straight games, and in the last 2, he's lost a fumble. So, honestly, I think the question is going to be, too, like, what discipline is he getting? Is Ramondre finally benched because he just keeps fumbling, or do they say, you're kind of the identity to our offense? Yeah, you're fumbling, but just learn to hang on to the ball because we're going to have to keep playing you. I think that's kind of the question the Patriots have here offensively.
Time will tell, baby, but I think we're going to get this one, Kobe.
Time will tell. Hey, nothing will surprise me anymore. Nothing will surprise me. We'll probably go down with like 4 more injuries, too, for us.
Dan Mitchell?
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, dude. I mean, it sucks from an NFL fan's perspective. Maybe not from my perspective since I'm a fan of a rival team. But this Miami Dolphins team, man, like they have just caught like bad luck, like after bad luck, like a giant rain cloud of injuries has just been completely following you. So losing out on Jalen Phillips, I actually like this matchup for the Patriots' weak offensive line, right? If there's any say that there's any pass rush that a Patriots fan should not be worried about with their offensive line in mind, it should be this Miami Dolphins pass rush right now. I honestly don't see them getting a lot of wins, even with the current players that you have on staff here. They struggle against the run. Like, look at all of their matchups, even when fully healthy. Like, so with Cook, for example, so week 2 against the Bills. Last week, so the Tennessee Titans, right, with Tony Pollard, ran all over them. I think this is a big game for Mr. Ramondre Stevenson as well. Like, I just don't like these matchups at all, especially with all the injuries. And as far as Snoop Huntley is concerned, man, I mean, I think that he was just a product of a Harbaugh system. So really over in Baltimore, I don't think he's that guy. Give me the Patriots 21-14.
That might be the most we scored all season so far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm feeling that. So I will say that, like, with Stevenson, he'll rush for like 140.
Ooh, does he hang on to the football for the first time this season?
I think so.
All right. I like that.
Yeah. He's going to rush for about 140, 150.
Lies.
Richie, talk to us.
Bro, I told myself I can't pick the Dolphins to win a football game until I see them something.
Yeah.
You pick the Patriots?
I've been burned too many times.
Yeah, call me a hater, man. I don't care. I mean, listen, I went into that Dolphins game like, okay, let's see. Bro, they look so bad. The New England Patriots have played better football this season than the Miami Dolphins in 4 games. They have. What?
We've had tougher opponents.
TD, you lost to the 0-3 Titans.
TD,
they loaded though. They loaded and they won.
Wait, so the stat continues though, right? The stat continues after Monday night. You guys did not have a lead in that game. There is not a point through 4 weeks that the Miami Dolphins have had a lead. Not once. How can I pick the Miami Dolphins to win a football game when they haven't had a lead once in 4 weeks? I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. TD can hype up Huntley all he wants. Oh, he's mobile. His arm sucks. You know who else sucks? Mike McDaniel. I mean, the Dolphins are an absolute mess, and there's nothing about that team that I can look at and say with confidence that I believe they can win a football game. I mean, McDaniel's in over his head. He's not a legit head coach. He's a glorified offensive coordinator, just like it seems like Saleh is a glorified defensive coordinator. And there's nothing about the Dolphins that makes me think they can win. I mean, the Patriots at least have something. They actually can run the ball a little bit more effectively. They actually have a defense I trust a little bit more. They also have a quarterback who I trust more. I trust Jacoby Brissett way more than Tyler Huntley. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Do you?
Yeah. Jacoby Brissett has actually won football games in this league. Tyler Huntley is 3 for 11 as a starter. You guys got him, hyped him up to be this Pro Bowl guy. He made it seem like he went to Baltimore and started winning. I mean, he didn't. He was 3-7 or something like that in his 10 games in Baltimore. Now he's 3-8 as a starter. Let's stop acting like Huntley is his quarterback that can go in and win. Especially when you look at the Dolphins, like, oh, you have all these weapons. You should be able to execute. Where are these weapons? Where's Waddle? Where's Hill? Where's A-Chain? Where are all these weapons that Dolphins fans hyped up?
This is the week.
This is the week. They should be able to absolutely step up and elevate a bad quarterback, and they're not able to do that. So I'm taking the Patriots to win this football game. Ugly game, 13-10 Pats.
You know, I realized the Dolphins they just miss Raheem Mostert, the stability that he brought. And when he comes off an injury,
you've been hyping up Devon A-Chain, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm just saying, overall, we just missed that consistency of what we had got used to.
So A-Chain's not good? Like most
No,
people
he's good. He's good, Richie. It's just like the Jets. Y'all miss Breece Hall going off. Y'all got to get back to y'all identity. That's all.